welcome one of the great receivers in NFL history, now a broadcasting star, to the recap. I'm David Kaplan. That is Keyshawn Johnson of Fox Sports. Key, thank you for taking time for me. I was at your Rose Bowl game when you tortured the Northwestern Wildcats. You were the number one pick in the draft. What pressure comes with being number one versus any other pick?
You know, you get the, thanks for having me on, Cap. You get the pressure of being the number one pick just because no matter what city you're in or anything, you're the number one pick. But that particular year, the New York Jets held the number one pick. The draft was in New York City. Wow. And a lot of stress and pressure because the moment that you are drafted number one, number two overall, or number one, it doesn't necessarily have to be the number one overall guy, but if you're like one of the top 3, 4, 5 guys, you almost become this, I don't know, franchise savior, kind of like folk hero, here we come type situation. So a lot of pressure comes with that. But, you know, it was in New York City. It didn't get to me. I wasn't worried about it. I just went out there for the 4 years that they was smart enough to keep me, try to perform at the highest level possible. And, you know, for the most part, in a short order, I did my job. I mean, I had Coach Parcells in New York for 3 years. And we were able to turn things around, get to AFC Championship game, because as a coach and a personnel person, him and his staff, they knew what to do with me, knew what to do with other players, knew who to pick. And it put us in a good position where my first rookie year, we were 1-15, but we had a shit of a staff. I mean, it was I have no idea how Richie Kotite got a job now that I'm, you know, further along in the world of sports and I have a real understanding on how these things work. You know, coming in as a rookie, I was like, oh, okay. But then after getting Parcells and being around Belichick and Dungy and all, it's like, I don't understand how Richie Kotite ever got a job.
Right.
And I'm sure you've gone through that in Chicago. Like, how did they ever hire this dude?
Right. We've had coaches who are like, how did Mark Trestman get the job as Bears coach? And the runner-up was Bruce Arians.
Hey, man, some people, as they say, he interviews well.
Exactly. Sounds like a smart guy. We'll hire him. Okay, so there is so much consternation in this town. I have said, through no fault of his own, because he's a great person, Justin Fields is the most divisive athlete I've covered in my time in Chicago. If you like Justin, you don't want to hear anything else about Caleb Williams or Drake May or anybody else. If you don't like Justin, you're a horrible person, and how can you not see he's a franchise quarterback? Yet, if you look at his stats over a 3-year period, we have the 4th best quarterback in a 4-team division. If it's Goff, Jordan Love, and Kirk Cousins. So when you sit in your seat with your knowledge and you look at just Justin Fields first, what do you see?
He's more talented and athletic than any of the 3 people you just named.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
And you talk about the 3 quarterbacks outside of him. What is the consistency that those 3 quarterbacks have had in those 3 seasons that they've been in the National Football League?
Well, better coaching and better support around them.
Better coaching, better support, and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Kirk Cousins has had consistency. Kevin O'Connell has been there. Prior to that, he had Zimmer for a long time. All right? Consistency. Green Bay, Matt LaFleur. Consistency. Even though it was Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love was able to learn behind him and be there. The coaching didn't change. The script didn't change. It's the same game plan. It's the same script. I may not be physically in the game, but I can look at Aaron Rodgers and I can make those point throws that I did against the Cowboys. And people would say if I put on a 12, it looks just like Rodgers, but I got a 10 on. So Justin Fields is yet to have consistency. They just got DJ Moore last year.
Right.
Okay. He's now on his 3rd offensive coordinator?
Yeah, Matt Nagy into Luke Getsy into whoever we hire.
So you got Matt Nagy who went through 4 quarterbacks. Okay. So what does that tell you about him? He couldn't find one.
Right.
Then now Luke Getsy, He's now looking for a coordinator, but he, rather than keep the coordinator and let the coordinator continue to work with the player, you remove yourself from the coordinator, and yet still you want to make it seem like it's the quarterback. Here's what I would say. Somebody's gonna, if in fact they move on from him, somebody is going to get a guy that they know what to do with, and people in Chicago are gonna want to burn down the building. You watch what I tell you. You and your Chicago Bear fans, y'all can play prisoner of the moment if you feel like it. But you must understand, you're not working with anything. You're just not. You don't have players. You got one. I understand Mooney's a nice guy. It's a nice piece. This is a piece, and that's all it is. It's not the puzzle. You got one guy in DJ Moore, man. That's it. That's it.
Okay, so what do you say to people who, like a lot of the analysts, not players, analysts, who look at the tape and they go, boy, Justin's fourth quarter numbers, horrible. Turnovers, not good. And if we reset the quarterback room, instead of paying Justin
God, reset the quarterback room. Get out of here with that.
I'm talking about the money part of it.
I know, but that's you hear that where did they come up with that? Resetting the quarterback room.
Because it's a fact. You're going to get Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever it is.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where has the Buffalo Bills gone?
They're playing today.
They've been in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they've been in the playoffs. We could say that, right?
Yeah.
It's the playoffs.
He's a stud.
He's a stud. They've gone to the playoffs.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson has gone to the playoffs.
He's going to win his second MVP now. They're not.
He's got. What? You got to hear me out though. Now, Cap. Yeah. Going to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Dallas Cowboys, they set the market. They've gone to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Reset the market. All that. Blah 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 blah. The Chargers have gone to one playoff game. They rookie contract, one playoff game. But the reason I'm saying this to you is because what people do is lazy. Yes, they said that they got young quarterbacks, mm-hmm. but in that time span, that they were on rookie deals, guess what? They ain't done shit. Because at the end of the day, the prize is the ring. Okay? Mm-hmm. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, mm-hmm. none of them have gone and won a Super Bowl on a rookie deal. So this, I'm going to reset it. Okay. So reset it. And be in the next 5 years on a new rookie contract in the same muddy water talking about, well, Caleb Williams isn't giving us anything right now. Guess we're going to reset the market. Little Keyshawn Johnson is up for the draft. Let's take a look at him. This is what you're doing. This is what you are doing. So 3 years from now, what are we going to do with Bryce Young? He hasn't won any playoff games. Let's reset the market. How does that work out for you? What are you doing?
Okay, I talked to Rick Spielman, who's been, again, he hadn't won a Super Bowl maybe, but he was a GM of two teams for a long time.
Rick is one of my closest personnel friends in all of the National Football League.
Okay, so my friend Dave Wanstead, who you know, Dave mm-hmm. said, call my friend Rick Spielman, talk to him. So he sets it up. I have a long call with Rick Spielman. He said to me, is this really a discussion in Chicago? Justin Fields, Caleb Williams? I said, oh, man, if you are anti-Justin in any way, death to your mentions on social media, and you're a horrible person. He said, Cap, you take Caleb Williams. He's the best prospect I've seen since, he said, Andrew Luck is right there with him. He's better than Peyton Manning at the same stage. It's not close. So what do you say?
I'd say Rick is playing football general manager is what he's doing right now. Mm-hmm. I've watched Caleb Williams since Oklahoma, and I've seen him up close and in person. Mm-hmm. He has some off-schedule stuff that's dynamic. but it's college football. You're playing against a freshman who's going to stop and look at you because you just won the Heisman while the guy runs behind him and you throw the ball. Mm-hmm. Don't get caught up in splash plays and highlights. You have to be able to understand in this particular system of the air raid, which, oh, by the way, you're going to interview Cliff Kingsbury or whatever and hire him or whatever. And they hired him?
No, they just interviewed him.
Oh, yesterday. So you're going to interview Cliff Kingsbury because what is that going to do? That's going to get you the same offense as Arizona. So you think, oh my God, we're going to score a lot of points in this offense with Caleb Williams in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. What offense in the what team has ever run that offense in the National Football League and has done anything that makes you go, wow, they just won the Super Bowl? It doesn't translate. It just doesn't.
Agree.
So I don't know. Again, y'all should move on from Caleb. Send him to Pittsburgh. Send him to Pittsburgh or Atlanta with Bill Belichick if he takes that job.
You talking about Justin? Are you talking about Justin?
Y'all should do that. That'd be really smart of you. Right where that'd be great for Detroit. They'll love it. It'll be great for Green Bay and Minnesota. They like, yeah, thank you. You guys, come on, man.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so you're a USC Hall of Famer. You're a #1 pick. You've had all this great success, and you're there in LA. So you get opportunities to not only watch Caleb, but interact and be around him as one of the godfathers of the program. Forget Justin a minute, break down Caleb Williams to me, because when Rick Spielman tells me best I've seen other than Andrew Luck in 30 years, what do you say?
I don't know that he's the best of Andrew Luck in 30 years. Every single quarterback that comes out, Cap, somebody says that they're the best that they've ever seen. I mean, every year. Mr. Trubisky, I've never seen a guy throw it like that. I mean, that's part of it. Bryce Young, it's just something about him. It's just something about him. He's a winner, no matter what. Okay, I got it. And meanwhile, C.J. Stroud, well, he blew off the Mannings. He's going to drop. He blew them off. He didn't go to their camp. I dare you blow the Mannings off. Somebody's always got something to say. I'm not saying in Rick's eyes and from what Rick has seen that that's not the case. But I'm just saying for me, I don't think that that's the case. I think Caleb, in the right situation, could be a quarterback that you go, okay, we might be able to build some stuff around. But you don't know that, so you're guessing. You are certainly guessing like you did with Mitch Trubisky. You guessed, okay? And you guessed wrong.
Yes.
Just like you did with Mike Glennon. You paid a handsome ransom for a backup. You guessed wrong. I mean, like you keep guessing wrong. When here's a kid, when you take a step back and you look at everything, he can't elevate poor coaching. He just can't. He can't. I mean, like think about it. All of the great quarterbacks have had pretty great coaching. Mm-hmm. All of them have, right? I mean, the greatest one that people say of all time is Tom Brady. Tom Brady had pretty damn good coaching. I mean, he went from Bill Belichick to Bruce Arians. Wasn't like he went from Bill Belichick to me.
Right.
He had great coaching. Joe Montana went from Bill Walsh to, I think it's Seifert, the Seifert moving, and then he went to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
So you gotta have great coaching. I went from Richie Kotite to Bill Parcells to Tony Dungy.
Pretty good.
I didn't go to John Gruden. Okay, those are pretty decent coaching. You don't have somebody that this kid is being disserviced in Chicago. It is, and if Ryan Poles and company allow the fan base to get to them because everybody thinks that Caleb Williams is going to be Patrick Mahomes. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes worked for Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy for a very, very, very long time.
Right. And sat behind Alex Smith.
And sat behind Alex Smith for a year. But all of a sudden, their offense is sputtering along, and Matt Nagy's over there, and Eric Bieniemy's gone. That's all I'm saying. Check the box. What's the common denominator? Matt Nagy comes in, offense struggles. That's all I'm saying. Eric Bieniemy leaves. Sam Howell looks like, he might be a keeper. That's all I'm saying. You got to have great coaching, man.
So if you look at a guy like Justin Fields and the Bears say to you, you know what? We didn't draft that kid. Brian Poles, I'm talking. I'm going to get my own guy. I'm going to take Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze or somebody at 9. And now I got 2 great receivers. I'm going to sign a center and another offensive lineman. And now let's go. Why would you say that would be a bad plan? Because bringing in Caleb allows them to spend money other places. I'm just asking the question. This is what some people who want Caleb are saying.
Well, bringing in Caleb doesn't allow you to spend money because Fields is on a rookie contract still. He's 2 more years.
Yeah, you have to pick up his 5th-year option in 2 days after this coming draft.
That's okay. You don't want to spend $20 million on a starting quarterback of the National Football League?
Absolutely. Whatever it costs, you got to pay.
You that's what it's going to be. So you still, again, it goes back to my original response. If you look across the league, there's only one guy that's won a Super Bowl in his rookie contract. Joe Burrow didn't win a Super Bowl in his rookie contract. He went, but guess what? He's just like me and you right now. Well, I have a ring, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
He's just like me and you. He ain't got nothing.
Right.
He didn't have anything. But people don't want to hear that as the truth. That's the truth. The truth is there's only one guy that has won on his rookie contract. So when you start talking about resetting the room and that's the crazy. I've never. It's like in the last 3 years, that's all of a sudden been an ongoing thing. You can reset the room. It's like, okay, so I'm going to get rid of this guy. I'm going to draft another guy, and I'm going to hope that he learns the NFL game. And if he learns the NFL game, then maybe he'll turn into something. But I got to pay him in 3 years. And if not, guess what? I'm going to start all over again. Because guess what the New England Patriots did? They reset the room with Mac Jones.
How'd that work out?
How did that work out? They're going to reset the room again with somebody. That's all I'm saying, Cap.
Do you realize how bad the Bears have been all time in receiving now? There are only 55 players in NFL history with 10,000 or more receiving yards. You are one of them. You would be the all-time Bears receiving leader if you had played here by 5,512 yards.
Well, does that have anything to do with Justin? That has something to do with the personnel department getting the right people.
Has to do with Justin. There are times, if you put the all-22 on, and you know better than me looking at it, that Justin just refuses to rip the football. That guy's open. Throw the football.
Yes, and I could say the same thing for Brock Purdy, Tua, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Carr. I could go on and on and on and on and on about putting the all-22 on and saying, damn, if he'd have just ripped it right there, that window was wide open. Mm-hmm. I could do that all day long. So
you're saying
nobody
it happens to everybody.
It happens to everybody. I can't absorb Justin Fields of fault in this situation. But what I can't do is condemn him of the entire debacle that has been Chicago's offense for the past 30 years. I can't.
So here's what terrifies Bears fans. Bears fans go, Ryan Pace took Mitch Trubisky instead of Patrick Mahomes last year, and I agree with the trade. Trading the pick and getting DJ Moore, the rights to Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, who they were able to grab in the second round with the Panthers' second-round pick. You get the number 1 this year, and you get their second round next year. Great trade for a team that definitely needed pieces. But you did leave C.J. Stroud on the board, who's had a phenomenal year and is playing against the Ravens today. So there are people going, wait, we passed on Mahomes for Trubisky, fail. We passed on Stroud. He's better than Justin. At least he looks that way right now. And now if we leave Caleb Williams on the board and he turns into the next big thing, we will have failed 3 times. That's what terrifies Bears fans.
Okay, here's what I want your listeners, and I know you probably got a gazillion of Chicago Bear fan listeners. Take a look at the Houston sideline and take a look at Chicago sideline.
Yep.
You see the difference? Who's calling the play? Who's controlling the sidelines? DeMeco Ryans, an ex-player, defensive coordinator, out of his mind, feels like he can still play. The players resonate to him. They rock with him. Okay? Now look at Chicago's sideline. Look at that head coach.
Eberflus.
Does that excite you?
No.
Okay, so there's a major difference what he can get out of him in Houston, because if Justin Fields was in Houston, they'd be in the same position. They'd be in the same position they are today against Baltimore. And if CJ Stroud was in Chicago, that's all I'm saying.
My partner
That's all I'm
said to
saying.
me, if you took CJ Stroud or Patrick Mahomes or any of these guys here, they're a dope with a B on their hat because we don't know how to prepare them.
You said it, I didn't.
Right.
You can't just look at, oh, the CJ Stroud was the right situation. It's the right everything. His players, you know, they got good players that he elevates, but they got good players that he can elevate. Chicago, I mean, it just offensive, that's just not their deal right now.
All right, last
it's just not their
things
deal.
For you. Last two things and send some of that California warm weather here because it's cold.
No, it's actually raining right now. We got about a 3-day rain deal coming.
But you have nice green grass out there. We do not.
Super green.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you were an offensive star. Everyone says that the Bears have got to hire an offensive head coach, not a defensive head coach, because if you hire an offensive head coach, he can mold the quarterback. If you hire a defensive head coach, guess what? The O coordinator does a good job. He's leaving to be a head coach. I believe you just hire the best CEO for my team, put the best staff around him, and guess what? If the OC leaves, I move the next guy up. You played that side. What do you say?
I'd say I hired the best CEO, and I allow my defensive coordinator and my offensive coordinators to run the room. My special teams coordinator to run the room. And I'll monitor the game day, practice, game days, all that sort of stuff, important decisions to be made in the game. That's how you win. These geniuses of a coach type situations, you look at Kansas City and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a CEO who has a defensive coordinator in Spagnuolo, but also at times touches the offense. And when he had Eric Bieniemy called the plays, but he gave some influence to what should be called. When you look at teams like that, that's how you win. The New England Patriots won for a long time because Bill Belichick had Romeo Crennel and Charlie Weiss and Josh McDaniels, and he had his defensive unit, but he controlled the sidelines on game day. He did that sort of thing. Coach Tony Dungy did not run our defense. Monty Kiffin did. Dungy did not run the offense. Tom Moore did at Indianapolis. He was the controller on game day to make the decisions. Timeout, go for it, don't go for it, throw the red flag, all of those sort of things. This, I need a defensive-minded coach or I need an offensive-minded. That doesn't, if you hire the right guy, it does not matter. It does not matter if he's from an offense or a defensive standpoint. Antonio Pierce just got the job with the Raiders. He'd run circles around Matt Eberflus, and he ain't never been a defensive coordinator at the NFL level. But he'd run circles around Matt Eberflus because the players are responding to him. They look at him and they go, that's us. He feels us. See, that Dan Campbell, they look at Dan and they go, he's one of us.
Right.
DeMeco Ryans, he's one of us. See, that's the difference. Instead of this corporate BS that is going on all the time in the National Football League, you know, when Tennessee was responding to Vrabel, because they looked at him and they said, he's one of us. He understands the game. He played the game. He holds us to accountability, responsibility, all of those things. And that's what good coaching is all about.
Yeah, you look at Bobby Slowick as a first-time play caller, but guess what? It works.
It works. It works.
All right, last thing. You said that Caleb has a lot of splash plays. That is what people who are not Justin fans say about him. Off platform, oh man, dynamic. but he can't stand back in the pocket, go through my read, bam, I'm going right there to Keyshawn Johnson. Aren't they basically the same player? Justin's bigger, stronger, but they're both great off platform, and Justin hasn't proven he can be that guy in the pocket. Or do you disagree with that?
Well, he hadn't proven to be that guy in the pocket, although I've seen him throw passes from the pocket, but he hasn't been on a consistent basis. What you don't want to ever do with a Justin Fields is change what he is. The guy that you just talked about, winning on his way to winning 2 MVPs, they didn't change what Lamar Jackson was or is. All they did was enhanced it by bringing in Todd Monken and bringing in OBJ and Nelson Aguilar. Okay, now you're surrounding him with Duvernay and Zay Flowers that they drafted. Now you're giving him some stuff to work with in the passing game. You know, he doesn't have the long ranger out there by himself and DJ Moore. There's other pieces that they've assembled to put around him without changing him. Because remember, he can never throw from the pocket. Oh, he never throw from the pocket. Meanwhile, the guy just threw for 400 yards. But, oh, he can't throw from the pocket. Only thing, if you stop him with his legs and make him throw for the pocket, how did that work out for you? You know, so when you look at that, they made a decision to go get somebody that had a understanding of the passing game in the National Football League, because Greg Roman did not. Right. He did not have an understanding of the passing game. There's a difference in the running game and an understanding of the passing game. And they made a decision that Todd Monken understood the passing game of the National Football League. The numbers are down across the board for everybody and every team statistically. So he's not going to throw for 5,000 yards this year. It was never going to happen because the numbers are down. He doesn't have the same numbers he had in 2019 when he won the MVP, because all numbers across the board are down for basically everybody. So, and then they might be up next year.
Keyshawn, you're the best. I appreciate you taking time, man. Keep killing it, because you know what I wanted to ask you? What was harder, becoming a great football player, which you were obviously, God gave you great ability and size. You worked your tail off to get there, or to get into the media where you had no experience, get done playing, and become a star at the media thing? Which is more rewarding?
Well, I don't. It's the same to me. I had to work in this field and sharpen my tools the same way you do in the NFL. You have to, you know, I was blessed with good looks and a voice and knowledge. So, you know, and then in football, I was blessed with talent and good looks. And so you just put it all together. You know, as many people say, man, you certainly are made for television, not radio, that face.
Well, get on that PJ and travel and enjoy, because you're killing it, man.
All right, we'll talk.
Appreciate you.